Monday, December 5th. I finally managed to find another journal at the store today, so I have a lot more to fill you in on. Firstly, what happened after the attack. Well, first off, the government covered it up as another terrorist attack. And secondly, Roderick said we need to start planning to break Dynamo out of their special containment unit. Now, if you ask me, I give odds of breaking him out at around 35%, which is generous at best. More importantly, however, is what happened during the fight. Remember when Bill died and gave me his powers? Well, turns out they were only temporary because Bill is somehow alive. Although he has been acting weird lately, like he was daydreaming. Thursday, December 8th. So it's been a few days, but I have over a month's worth of writing. So basically, Roderick explained to me that now that the government knows I'm a demon, they're going to start sending bounty hunters after us. Now normally I would be scared of this, but over the course of 2 months, I got a lot stronger. Anyway, today Evan and Trista told me it was my turn to buy food. Evan dropped me off at the back of the store, and I went in. Going inside, however, you wouldn't believe what I saw. Some madman bought the entire shelf of drummies. I don't know who they are, but if I ever find them, I may have to commit a war crime. I picked up the other items off the list, and other than that, the store wasn't too eventful. But on the way home, it was a different story. While I was home trying to avoid the on-duty police, I got a call from Roderick. He said that he found a man with insider knowledge of the government building, and that he had scheduled a meeting behind a gag shop. Bro, trust me. But when I got there, I was starting to judge Roderick's intuition. Hello, Greg. Long time no talk. It was Albert Sandy. Now, I'm no judge, but holy hell was I skeptical of Roderick's source now. Albert Sandy is known for telling the most ridiculous lies, and yet somehow everyone believes him. But I couldn't really complain, due to the fact that Roderick would be pretty mad at me for wasting his money, even though he already bought Albert's info. I thought he would start telling me all about yogurt, but I was wrong. He started to tell me all the entry points of the base and the camera locations. I wanted to ask him about the passwords for the doors in the base, but he was one step ahead of me. In fact, he answered every question I had before I even said it. Okay, but what about the invisible lasers? Yeah, they only activate after 12:30 AM. It started becoming creepy, however, when he started to predict the future itself. Oh yeah, you might not want to stand there. Huh? After he had told me everything he said, I asked him how he predicted everything that just happened. All he said was that he made a deal with someone, whatever that means. Right before I left though, he had one more thing to say. Just so you know, I wouldn't trust that person on the phone call. And right after he said it, I got a phone call, which was from Roderick? I was pretty freaked out and concerned because of what Albert said early. What was Roderick hiding? Why couldn't he be trusted? I then picked up the call and asked what he wanted, but turns out he just wanted to ask how the deal was going. But Albert just had to speak up again. I wouldn't be standing on the sidewalk in the next 5 seconds. Oh my god, Albert, what are you talking about? Well, I guess I should have listened to Albert. I was just sent flying by a random car. It felt like I had a few broken bones, but Dorakuma helped me with those. A few seconds later, the people driving the car stepped out, and it did not look like they did it by accident. Do you think that killed him? One of them started to speak, asking if I was dead, but the other disagreed and said that that wouldn't be enough to kill a demon. So it was pretty obvious those were the bounty hunters Roderick talked about. Probably not. I'll do the rest. Just stand back and watch. The guy with the sword coming out of its head looked to be the one in charge, but I had never seen something like it before. Sure, I've seen demons living inside humans, but a human living inside a demon? I didn't have long to think about it though, because in an instant he charged right over to me and almost cut me. It happened so fast that I didn't even have time to make a weapon before he sliced my hand off. This guy's way out of your current league, man. Well, do you have a plan to advance me into this? Yeah, I do. It just involves me taking over a little more of your body. Alright, fine, just do it. As soon as I said that, he quickly got to work. First I felt a bite on my hand, then my hand and head started to shake. It felt like they were bursting open, and when I opened my eyes, I wasn't expecting what I saw. It felt awesome, like I was Iron Man. I didn't have long to gloat though, because the katana guy was ready to charge. It's claws versus katanas. Man, this would have really been helpful last month. You should have just asked. We were pretty even at first, but I could tell he had a lot more experience with blades similar to that knight I fought a few weeks ago. I asked Urakuma for any tips on how to take him down, but it looks like I didn't have time to do so. He left a pretty big gash on my chest. I was losing a lot of blood, which was actually a good thing in this scenario. Just then Dorakuma finally answered me. He said that he was the perfect weapon for taking him down. Aw yeah baby, I wrecked that katana guy. With all his blades chopped off, there was no way he could fight, so he did the most reasonable thing. He told his friends to get in the car and leave. If Dorakuma was standing right beside me, I would give him a high five. Or at least I could have, because after the whole fight I started to feel lightheaded, like if I had chugged a bottle of bourbon. Wait, I've never tried bourbon? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you the side effect. Blood loss. Friday, December 9th. Okay, so after I passed out yesterday, Roderick found me in the middle of the road before the cops did, so I was able to get home safe. Although he didn't seem to be concerned about me, rather he was more concerned about the information Albert gave me. Seeing how I couldn't do much while I recovered, I decided to investigate for clues about some of the things that have happened recently. So I told Evan I needed help with some work and to drive me around town. He was reluctant at first, but then I reminded him that I saved him from getting arrested last month, so he quickly said yes. Arriving at the crime scene, we quickly realized there was no way we could get in there without getting spotted by police. Luckily, we had a plan. Our plan was to use a temporary contract with the devil in order to bypass the security. Don't ask me when we got the contract because it's a long story. Okay, we got you your waifu pillow. Now give us the deal. Yes, sure. Another one for the jar. Using the Skin Devil's power, we were able to transform into the police and we were sliding through the crowd. On our way though, we saw news reporters covering the scene. They were saying that another mysterious explosion had happened in Plainview again. I'm not sure how long the government can cover up these devil attacks because the lies are starting to become outrageous. When we got to the scene where Rowley had transformed, instead of seeing a lot of detectives, we only saw one person. He appeared to have some kind of man bun. Now I'm not gonna judge, but that hairstyle has always rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. But I can't tell why. He started to speak and asked if we had found any evidence yet, and we both said no. He then pointed to the house across from mine and said, "Okay then, try checking inside the house over there." Going inside the house, there wasn't anything too odd. We looked around everywhere, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. Until Evan found a phone on the coffee table. It looked like a normal phone, but as soon as I saw the background image, I knew who it was. Why was Rowley's phone inside this random house? I knew he was a demonic mole, but it was a bit strange to just leave it here. What was even more strange was the charging table. The cord just leads straight to the sea. Holy shit! Everything after was just a blur. Me and Evan bolted out of the room before the demon could grab us. We instinctively ran outside so we could use our powers, but then I remembered we were surrounded by police. I was going to let the other cops deal with it, but that thing was so fast it went behind and grabbed us. There was nothing we could do. We couldn't transform because of the police, and they couldn't fight back because they didn't have powers. Con. Out of nowhere, the guy we were talking to a few minutes ago had saved us. He said some weird words and a fox appeared out of nowhere. I should remind myself to spare him during the raid. We quickly thanked him before we got out of there and went back to base. Friday, December 16th. Okay, I haven't written in this since a week, and I was planning to write after the raid, but something really weird happened today. I was walking to the fridge just to get some juice when I bumped into Bill. Now normally this wouldn't be a noticeable thing, but during our collision, he dropped his glasses. And when I went to pick them up to give him, "Can I have that back?" Bill's eyes had rotted from his skull, so I guess he did die back there. I backed away from him and asked if he was okay, and all he said was that he felt great. So after hearing that, I ran to Roderick telling him what I saw. At first he had no clue what I was talking about, but then it clicked with him, and his response was very unnerving. "You know, Greg, you should probably just lay down for a day." Well, that was really strange. Perhaps Albert Sandy was telling the truth about Roderick hiding something. So, with nothing else to do, I decided to continue my investigation. Who is Dynamo? Sunday, the 18th. So today I started looking through Roderick's room, trying to find any information about Dynamo, and not too long later, I found my first clue. Note for today. Today I joined Dynamo's secret army. He made me 4th in command. One of the perks is that I get access to the super secret safe. The code is 739008. Although he made me sign a blood pact, I didn't want to cut myself, so he said I could. I read the note and I headed straight towards the safe downstairs. Luckily the others were out on mission, so I didn't have to worry about being caught. I opened the safe and inside was something you won't believe what I saw. Date 2019 Feb. Mission status incomplete. After my dogs had failed me for the 3rd time, I decided that enough was enough. They needed to be replaced, so I promptly did so. I dug deeper and I found even more notes. Date 2019 June. I was so close to capturing the blood demon today, but sadly I got caught up in something else. I found out the sound demon had come back from hell and had found a new host for a crappy rock band player. He probably won't even be useful. Man, I haven't done this much reading since 9th grade history class. Date 2019 October. I was wrong, so wrong. That boy was actually useful to me. He managed to capture the blood demon before I could, and to boot, it's his brother as well. Each day I'm one step closer to the Great Crossing. Once I kill the blood demon and force a contract from him, I can get rid of everyone else. After reading all those notes, there were so many questions flowing in my mind. What was this Great Crossing and why does he want me dead? I quickly started to come up with a reason why he would do this. Suddenly Dorakuma spoke up. I guess that makes sense. I think I'm starting to remember. Remember what? About what happened that day. He started to talk about the day he came into contact with me, how he was running from something, and how whenever he dreams, he always sees a strange door that he's too scared to open. I don't know what's behind it, but whatever you do, don't open it. Although now that you know it's there, you'll probably end up dreaming it too. Monday the 19th. Well, just like Dorakuma said, I had a dream about the door. And safe to say, he wasn't kidding about not opening it. Now, normally my drawings from my dreams aren't very cohesive, but this dream was very different because unlike the others, it was very vivid, almost like it was real. So I was able to draw it a lot better. In the dream, I was awoken inside a garbage bin. I don't even want to describe the smell, which was the same one I saw Dorakuma crawl out of. During my dream, I felt something drawing me, so I followed it. I turned the corner and I saw a mysterious figure standing at the end, before walking behind a wall. I decided to follow him because I really didn't have any other choice. When I got to where they ran off to, I saw them. I thought I told you not to come here. I was about to approach him when they suddenly turned towards me and said, Greg, you need to go. I just want to be alone. Suddenly, I felt the floor start to tip. It was like gravity had gone haywire. I guess this is what it's like to be a flat earther. I tried to grab onto something, but it was no good, and right as I fell through the door, ah! Monday, the 19th. So after I had the nightmare, I decided not to ask Dorakuma about it because from the looks of it, he didn't know much either. I went downstairs to get cereal, and to my surprise, I saw everyone else eating cereal. I asked what everyone was doing, and then Roderick reminded me that today was the day we raided the military base, which I had completely forgotten about. First, we arrive at 9:30. We create a distraction with the car bombs out front. Then we go through the back door. The rest of you take out the guards. Greg gets the keys, then unlocks Dynamo's cell. While we're doing that, Trista deactivates the power, we free Dynamo, and get out. Well, there's not much I can do now. I'll just have to ask Dynamo directly when we get to his cell. 9 p.m. We got to work hopping the fence and going through the back door. We instinctively split into the three teams and headed out. Me and Roderick hid inside a closet outside the main lobby and waited for the bombs to go off. Okay, Frank. You just gotta give her the coffee. Just give her the coffee. Ah! We ran outside the closet and knocked out some of the police officers that had third-degree burns on him. And then we headed in two directions. A few minutes later, I was standing outside the security room. But when I opened it, you wouldn't believe who it was. Looking back, I probably should have expected him to be here. He stared at me for a second before he asked me why I joined Dynamo's organization. Honestly, I really didn't have a choice. Okay then, let me ask you this. Do you know who the Control Devil is? I didn't really know what to say. I had never heard of a Control Devil, but I didn't really want to find out either, so I asked him whether or not he knew the stakes of closing the portals. But just as I was about to ask him, some random fuck threw a live grenade through a window. The grenade blew up almost instantly and it destroyed the floor below us. We fell down onto the main floor of the base, or at least he did. I managed to grab onto a flag during the drop, although I knew that he would get up in a couple seconds. So with that spare time, I took him down with one blow. Just then, I heard some rumbling underneath the mace. I didn't know he could do that too. Dorakuma must have also realized that as well, as he quickly transformed into my devil form. He started to rain hellfire towards me, and I was running everywhere. I managed to get out of his line of sight and jump into the air. I came down with a thunder, but he came up with a 30mm anti-tank round. I should have known his head could fire. Listen, Greg, I don't want to fight you. Huh? Do you know what Dynamo is planning? Do you know what happened before you got your powers? Okay, I'll admit, I don't really trust him. That's correct, because he's been hunting you for a while, so he can use you for his master plan. Yeah, I already know. But do you know the rest? That part shocked me. I thought that was only part of the mission. I wanted to hear more about what he was saying, so I let him keep talking. Hell is like a volcano. Pressure builds up over time. Tiny eruptions release that build up pressure. But when all the eruptions get closed up, the pressure has nowhere to go and explodes. I have to admit, I never thought of it like that. His explanation made sense to me. But then again, this is the government we're talking about, so I still had some doubt. That makes sense and all, but why should I believe you? Because would your enemy do this? The military guy raised his hand and proceeded to shock himself in the chest. I ran to see if he was okay, but when I did, he just winked at me. So I guess he's just playing dead. He then said to not let Dynamo out at any cost. I grabbed the key and marched to this holding cell, where Roderick and Dynamo were waiting for me. Dynamo was being held behind several walls of bulletproof glass, was chained up and covered in flex tape. It was then that Roderick saw me. He told me to give him the key, but I had no intention. Okay, but before I give you the key, let me see who Dynamo is. Greg, we don't have time for that. No. I will do as he asks. I was surprised Dynamo would actually listen to me. But I was even more surprised when I saw who he was. It was me, Greg. It was Fregley. Out of everyone who it could have been, Fregley was my last guess. I take it Dorakuma must have had an effect on him. So be it. We can just extract his corpse. Roderick, kill him. Did he just say, kill me? I looked at Roderick. There was no way Roderick would listen to him, right? He's my own brother. But I saw Roderick's expression. It was full of agony and regret. He then muttered, "It's for the greater good, Greg. I'm sorry." Just how much has Fregley brainwashed him? I tried to talk him out of it, but he just closed his eyes. I had just enough time to blink before he... I kept blocking all of his strikes because there was no way I could hurt my own brother. Roderick didn't even seem to care what he was doing. It wasn't before long until I was knocked out. I then woke back outside the dumpster from my dream. I was a bit delirious after what happened, but I still had one hope left, the door. I ended up walking for a while before I found him, and he said the same thing before. Greg, you need to turn back. Like I said earlier, only I can open the door. You never said we couldn't open it. All I remember from then on is seeing a blinding light. Goodbye, brother. All my life, I always hated my hosts. But this boy, he treated me as a friend, so I'll return the favor. My friend can't fight you, but I can! Huh? Looks like you're still alive. No matter. This will be the last mistake of your life, Greg. Holy shit. That was... Damn. I didn't think he'd be that fast. But if he's gonna go all out, then so will I. Alright, brother! You asked for this! You're not the only one that can do that. This form of mine amplifies sound waves tenfold. Unlike his, mine is contained, like stereo speakers, meaning... I can do this. Die, Greg! For our sake! Alright, time for a last encore. They say devils are unstoppable. That's not true, because even demons have limits. Sleep, my friend. You deserve the rest. You may not have killed him, but you still accomplished the goal. A reign of destruction, some would say. I've gathered up the... Hold it there, fuckface. Don't go thinking you've won. Just because you smashed my city doesn't mean you've smashed our mission. I am Ganado Kishimada. As the Chief Commander of Public Safety Commission, I tell you this war is far from over. In fact, it's just the beginning.